Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Jonathan Harmon of the J Harmon Home Team, powered by Keller Williams, with two of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Mr. Joel Bigelow of Endure Athletics. Nice haircut, buddy.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
You
looking good.
Yeah.
And Miss Jami Averwater of Hywater Title. And
ironically, I did get my hair done today.
Did you?
Yes.
I did mine yesterday.
Yeah.
So I don't shave every day because it starts to get itchy. And anyway, and you know what else? True story. Non-bald people might not realize this, but stocking caps are some of you folks call them toboggans, which is dumb because that's a sled with no runners. They slide off of my head when
Is it so slick?
Yeah. So like this little bit of hair acts like Velcro to hold it on. It's pretty awesome. But anyway, so we are here at Spread the Positive Studios. Sorry, I just got texted. Sometimes we have sound issues, so I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a sound issue. We are here at Spread the Positive Studios at Cedar Glade Brews, and I think I got it backwards that time, right? Isn't it Cedar Glade Studios with Spread the Positive? Producer Trent's back there.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, well, whatever. As long as we get all the words in there. The other person that we need to mention, though, is Mr. Brian Nail of Iberia Bank Mortgage. For graciously underwriting the production of this show. So if you need a mortgage, you need to go call Mr. Brian Nail. And if you need somebody to close said mortgage, you need to call Jami Averwater.
That's right.
And if you know some kids that are in need, you need to call Joe Bigelow.
Call me up. I'm ready.
So we're going to talk about all that here in just a little bit. So Christmas season is officially upon us. I am no longer judging anybody for putting Christmas decorations up. So that's good.
It's always good.
That just happened. So, and I don't have any Christmas decorations up because I've been here like pretty much always. So, I guess let's start with this. Let's have each of you kind of tell us a little bit about your particular organization. Just 3 minutes on what you do, why you do it, that kind of thing, and then we'll get in a little more in depth. Okay, sure. Jamie.
Oh, ladies first. Thank you, gentlemen. I am Jami Averwater of Hywater Title, and no, that's HYWA.
Has nothing to do with pants.
Nothing to do with pants or the tide, but it fits, either way. I own a commercial and residential real estate closing company here in Rutherford County, and thankfully, I have some amazing clients, and I've been able to spread out across multiple counties. We now have 2 official offices and 1 additional satellite office, so we're everywhere from Rutherford County all the way to Loudon County in East Tennessee.
I have no idea where Loudon County is.
I was just going to ask that same thing.
Yeah, where is Loudon?
Right outside of Knoxville. So
okay.
You will hear about it soon. It's beautiful. It's up and coming. There's a beautiful lake that's actually a 2-hour boat ride to Neyland Stadium. So I was never a water person, but now I have a lake house and a boat, and I'm going to be getting Vols tickets, I think. So somehow I've fallen in love with Loudon, and it's going to be my summer destination. I guess.
You know what you need to do?
What?
You need to get in a boat and drive over there and just blare nothing but Sweet Home Alabama and just to mess with folks.
I'm a proud supporter of the Tennessee Vols.
Bless your heart.
And the MTSU Blue Raiders.
Okay, well.
MTSU
yeah, I got a chip on my shoulder about that, but that's okay. All right, Joel, what about you?
So 6 years ago, I founded Endure Athletics. We're a local nonprofit that serves the homeless children and youth that live right here in our community. So we do that through our after-school programs, 9-week summer camps, various other enrichment activities throughout the year, such as MTSU football games and things. So,
yeah, and concerts.
Yeah,
and all kinds of crazy stuff.
You name it, man. We do.
I know it.
We
I know it.
Our excuse me. We'll have our Christmas party coming up, and we just rented out It's not Jump Street anymore. What's Sky Zone?
Sky
Zone.
Is that trampolines and stuff?
Yes.
Nice.
So excited about that. And then we have we rented out the ice skating rink at Gateway. So we'll do that during winter break too. So
yeah.
Amazing. I actually volunteered at your Christmas party last year.
Okay.
With Trent. Yeah, it was a great time. I'd love to come back this year.
It's circling back around.
It's the circle. Yeah.
Can you keep going one more verse?
Not a chance. Absolutely not. No, that was more than enough.
Yeah.
So, Joel, we see your van all over Murfreesboro. At least it seems like I'm seeing it crisscrossing town all the time. So
they should get a hybrid.
Well, it's a big old van, that's for sure. Tell us a little bit more, like go into depth, and I especially love the origin story of your organization because it's just really cool how. I mean, I go out on a limb here, but God moved you You saw something and you were like, man, something needs to be done about that. And then you went, I guess I'll do it.
Yeah. So thank you for that. So yeah, 6 years ago, I feel like, can you hear me better now?
I hear you loud and clear, bro.
So 6 years ago, God worked on my heart to start indoor athletics. And so I worked in the steel industry. I worked at Steel Technologies, right behind one of the most notorious motels here in town. Seeing what goes on every day at that place, coming into work for 13 years. Then there's another nonprofit that used to feed the homeless, the kids, and the families that live in the motels every Friday night outside of my bay door that I used to walk out on. And it just moved me to see a different side of Murfreesboro, a different side of the tracks, if you will.
Sure.
And so yeah, I just left. I quit my job, started Endured, and just learned what a nonprofit is and was, and got a book and try to figure it out. So
it's a lot more than people think, isn't it?
Oh man, I tell you what.
As a lawyer, you don't know how many times people call me and they say, "Can you help me set up a nonprofit?" I'm like, what do you want to do? I don't know. I just want the tax advantages.
Yeah.
Like, no. That's not how this works.
They can just donate my way.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a tax break, and now's the time of the year for it too.
That's true.
So
that's right.
Approaching the end of the year.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the things that's really stuck with me about what you guys do there, you help kids with youth athletics,
yep.
Which is awesome. You give them or try to give them a place to play and to just be a kid rather than in the parking lot of the motel.
A safe place.
Yep.
A lot of things that we take for granted. Sure.
And when I say you help them with youth athletics, that's everything from replacing the shoelaces that they blow out in their cleats to paying the dues to getting them to practice, whatever that happens to be, right?
Absolutely. We don't want any of that to be a barrier. It's expensive to play sports here in Rutherford County.
It is.
And the fees and the different dues and all those things. So we try to take care of all those for them. And the younger kids too, a lot of the sport aspect of what we do is just engaging with them, playing catch, kicking a ball around. Hey, how was your day? How was this? How was that? What's going on at the home?
Things that a lot of kids and parents don't even realize that they're teaching their kids just by tossing a ball with them.
Exactly. And it's just that relationship builder is a lot what we do. So.
Yeah. But you take it a step further sometimes. And you were telling me once about, and I mentioned a concert. You took a bunch of kids to a concert, and this is just really, and I know this is the one I always talk about, but it's the one that stuck with me. You basically said, okay, look, and I don't remember now if it was fall break, spring break, I can't remember. Sure. But you said all the other kids are going to come back to school and they're going to talk about, I did this, I did that, I did this, whatever. And here's this one kid that's sitting there and has nothing to contribute. I sat in a motel room for the whole week.
Yeah.
And so you said, nah, let's give them at least something to participate in the conversation about. And man, what that does for a kid's psyche and self-esteem and self-worth.
Absolutely. And that's a lot about our 9-week summer camp, right? The kids that we serve, literally, that's what they would be doing. They'd be stuck inside their 200 square foot motel room, unsafe living environment as it is. So getting them to go out. I mean, we've gone to Gatlinburg again. We'll go ice skating, MTSU football games. We'll go to the Titans games. Just getting them out and allowing them to come back to school and say, hey, this is what we did over our winter break, over our summer break. Really, really, really important.
That's so cool. I love that. So
that's amazing.
Now, the flip side of that is I can't imagine going to any of those events with a van full of kids. So
3 vans,
even worse, 3 times worse. So God bless you on that one. That's pretty awesome. So if you see indoor athletics out there and if the driving's not perfect, be kind.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. If the driving's, and I'm sure it is, but just in case, be kind.
It can get a little rowdy sometimes. That's for sure.
For sure. So, Jami, I've known you now for what, 3-4 years, 5 maybe at the most. Somewhere
Time
around
flies,
there.
right?
Yeah, it goes real quick. And since I've known you, you've been in the title industry with a couple of different companies, and then you and Jim got together and said, okay, let's do this and let's start one. And Hywater Title doesn't do They do, but they also do some things that are they help some other folks out as far as the types of transactions and things like that. A lot of investors use you guys because you're not confined. You don't confine yourself by the typical box. Is that accurate?
There's a lot of ways, right, that we don't put ourselves in a box. You know, when Jim and I got together, actually at Just Love Coffee on Medical Center, right after it opened, I had kind of aired my grievances about what was wrong with most title companies. I won't say all title companies, but most title companies.
Mhm.
And when I got into title, I remember thinking, what's a title company do? And I really didn't know when I graduated from law school and really got into title work. I just knew I wanted to be involved in the process, and I
Mhm.
wanted to use my training and my law degree and my real estate knowledge to help people. And it sounds so crazy to think that a title company helps people, but I love it. I love sitting down every day at the closing table and watching people buy their first home or their 100th home, watching these families grow. Gosh, there's a family. I hope they're watching. I've probably closed 3 houses for them in the last 12 months because their family keeps growing.
Oh, wow.
They keep adding on more people. It was 2 children and now it's in-laws, right, that needed to move in. So it's been such a blessing for them to keep coming back and for me being a part of this journey, very similar to what a real estate agent does.
Mhm.
And I just love it. And so when we decided to set out and start a title company, we wanted it to be not only a place that our clients could grow with us, but where our team could grow too. So our core values at Hywater are education, connection, and growth. And we think those 3 things play into our daily business very, very well. We love spending time together as a team. We love spending time with our clients. And I think more importantly, we love watching our team grow.
Well, and here's the thing: most folks that are watching this, you know, if you ask them what does a title company do, they're going to say that's just where I went and signed the documents to buy my house. And the reality is, if the title company does even a mediocre job, then you really have no idea what they do,
That's true.
right? But sometimes, and in the vast majority of transactions, there's not issues that the title company has to uh, put out fires. Now, sometimes there are,
Right.
and very often they're the ones that grease the wheels between all the parties to make that transaction be smooth, right?
Yes.
Because they're pulling from every single thing and pulling it all together and saying, okay, put a bow on it and we're done.
That's right.
Where it really comes in handy to have a knowledgeable, um, for lack of a better word, it's a 50-cent word here, good title company is when it does go awry. If you're going to find out real quick if your title company is good or not.
That's very true. That's very true.
And it does sometimes go awry. I mean, we've had stuff where, you know, the garage was built 1.5 feet over the property line, you know, back in 1930, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what do we do with this? You
Very
know,
true. That's very true.
and these 17 other title companies, when it's changed hands throughout the years, never did anything with it. So guess what?
Right.
It's on our shoulders.
On the good title company that caught it.
That's right.
Well, I will say something I tell my clients is, my real estate agent clients is, you know, I want to be your partner. I'm maybe the last person that your client sees at the end of the transaction.
That's exactly right.
Even last to you. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to come to closing. I'm going to be at closing. Hopefully the lender's at closing. But chances are the feeling that your client leaves with that day is the
100%.
feeling that they're going to remember. So I want to pop champagne and take pictures and have a great experience. I don't want them to walk into a dark office that, you know, smells a little weird and, you know, they sign a bunch of paperwork.
They couldn't even find it because it was whatever door at whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Up a bunch of stairs, you know,
Yeah.
or they don't know what they're signing. No one explained it.
Yeah.
Someone comes in, doesn't introduce themselves, just does a job and leaves. You
Mhm.
know, Jim and I won't call it a production, but it's work. I mean,
Sure.
if I have 3 or 4 closings a day, which often I do, it's draining, but I love it, right? I mean, it's interacting, it's asking questions, it's explaining documents, it's getting excited for them, whether they're buying or selling.
Well, and here's the other thing, and I said what I said earlier, and then I was sitting here thinking about it, and I'm like, ooh, I make it sound like she's a criminal. That's not what I meant. What I meant was you guys are also able to help. Investing in real estate is drastically different than purchasing your residence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. There's a lot of different ways to do it. There's all kinds of different types of transactions. There's all kinds of different, think outside the box. What if this person wants to buy it and, kind of hunt the house for this person? And,
Right.
There's all kinds of different ways that real estate transactions happen. And I'd say most title companies are not really equipped to adequately handle some of those different things. And because of that, you guys have a pretty good, what do we call this, clientele, I guess, of real estate investors that close with you guys pretty close to exclusively. Is that pretty accurate?
It's true. I'm very grateful. I will say we have people call in and they say, are you investor friendly? Are you FSBO friendly? Are you estate friendly? And I just say, you know what? We're friendly, right? Because the truth is we've got a great team. I don't think it's that any title company in Tennessee isn't capable of handling a transaction. I think it's that they're not willing to put in the work and they don't have the passion for it. Maybe that's what we've run into in the real estate market. Very grateful that my team, there's no problem that they refuse to solve. And there are some deals we can't close legally, and no title company legally can, but we do everything in our power to hunt down those 13 heirs, right? I have stalked people on Facebook to find the heirs. I
got a story for you after this.
Oh my gosh,
this
I
is
can't wait.
over.
I drove to a Target in Spring Hill on a Saturday morning and tracked down an employee.
I was pretty sure I was going to get shot one time.
Tracking down an heir. Right?
Pretty sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's part of it, and sure, we earn our keep and earn our money on a lot of deals.
Yeah.
But there are so many that I love closing that chapter. Even the sweet woman the other morning who came in and her mother had very unexpectedly passed away. She was selling her house. It was bittersweet for her. And she said, this has been more difficult than the funeral.
Yeah.
Because
Talk about closure.
Yeah. Talk about closure.
I mean, it's called closing.
Right. That's true. And she was just so relieved. And even though it was bittersweet, I got a lot of honor out of helping her. And that's all I can ask for. And I'm really grateful for what Joel does and all of our other nonprofits here. Something else that my business partner and I set out to do is to donate very heavily. Donate very heavily.
Tomato, maybe.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
In that context.
Yeah. Actually, my goal for next year is to donate 10% of our profit back to local organizations.
That's awesome.
And I hope Endure is one of those. I would love to get with you on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Second Harvest Food Bank, Greenhouse Ministries, Nurses for Newborns, all organizations that we have supported, I won't say sporadically, but as you've asked, but we want to do more intentional giving back to our heroes, back to our teachers, even if it's back to our team's families. We had an employee last year whose family was affected by a flood. Well, we did everything we could. We donated to the Waverly floods as well, to causes out there. So we are so grateful for this market, and we're so grateful for our clients and how much success that we've had. And I just want to make sure we're doing the community right and saying thank you.
Well, and that's where I kind of wanted to take this. So I know you guys have met before, but maybe not known each other real well. Yeah. But I think one of the things I like to talk about things that not everybody likes to talk about. So one of the things that troubles me in I guess in our modern culture and pop culture right now is kind of this demonization of wealth. This person is a whatever percenter, and there's no way that they made that much money, that they have that much wealth without stepping on toes and breaking kneecaps and stuff. And I mean, quite frankly, it's just not true, right? I mean, are there people that do that? Yes. Are there people that do it the right way and accumulate wealth and just have a knack for building wealth the right way?
Yep.
Yes. And we have them right here in this community.
Absolutely.
And what I love about that is also in this community, we have organizations like Endure Athletics and Amelia's Closet. And you mentioned several others as well. Second Harvest Greenhouse. I mean, I can go on and on. We've got multiple. We interviewed Ed Grimes. Was that last week, Trent? On the Murfreesboro.com podcast with the Murfreesboro Rescue Mission. Golly, that guy, like, he made my week. You know, I mean, he's just a light
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
And
we're
so
blessed as a community.
we really
the
are,
local
aren't we?
community. How many awesome
Yes.
nonprofits we have in town.
And
for
they
sure.
work
Absolutely.
together for
Mhm.
the most part. I
Yep.
mean, they
Yep.
they coordinate. They say, okay, what need is not being met, rather than trying to, I don't even know if this is possible, compete with each
Right.
other.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
it's anything's possible. So.
So true. So I guess I kind of want to open the floor for you guys to talk about that, and just if you're watching this and you're thinking, like, somewhere in your heart you have this hatred, this demonization, as I used before, for wealth building, change people's minds. That's what I'm gonna ask you to do.
Oh,
I'm
heck
going to
yeah.
start.
Do
Okay.
it.
We are 100% donation based. So without people opening up their hearts and caring about the community that they live in, Endure would not exist today. And do they have to be the wealthiest person that donates to us? No. You know, I mean, we have small donations to large donations.
$10 helps, and
Absolutely.
so does 10,000.
Absolutely.
And it, you know, whatever they want to open up to you for us. But you know, we've grown through 6 years because of the love of the community and the support that they've given us.
Mhm.
And I can say the same thing. A lot of people will talk about churches, large churches too, and that same kind of
Yes.
aspect, right? As far as
Yeah. Oh,
you know,
talk about
wealth
getting a
and
bad
this
rap.
church and this and that. I can tell you some of the largest churches in the community support us greatly. And some of the smaller churches support us just as well too. So
Mhm.
um
And that's through use of facilities. That's through monetary gifts.
yes, through Christmas Eve donations for the churches, the facilities that they open up to us, just allowing us to come in and speak our mission and vision and getting their congregation support.
Mhm.
So we have multiple churches that support us. Again, on the same basis, right, of the wealthy and different things. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, what do you think?
Jamie?
I will say, I have to walk a fine line being a lawyer. There's some confidentiality here, but I will say that I have some friends. I won't even call them clients. I will call them friends who are some of the most successful people I know financially. And they are also spiritually some of the most successful people I know. And they give an enormous amount of their time and resources and wealth. And I think our community takes that for granted. And I'm sure we're all thinking of the same few right off the tip of our tongue. And, you know, I aspire to be that. And that is what, when my husband and I set our goals for 2022, both our household goals and also our company goals for 2022, that was a big one. I think there's a lot of people in this community that sure gained their wealth really fast and maybe take it for granted. And maybe they don't tithe like they should and they don't give like they should. But I don't think that's the majority. I think that's the minority.
Mhm.
Everybody at least that I surround myself with, maybe I'm just lucky, but everyone I surround myself with, from real estate investors, developers, small business owners that have found success, they're very, very gracious. And if I've asked them for something for a nonprofit or for an organization that I serve, they've done it.
So how do we as, and I'll just say it, and how do we, as the leaders in the community, you guys are leaders within this community at large, and then also within your community, right? How do we help people change their heart? You know, how do we when people demonize a group, right? How do we, like, what do you say to that? Because a lot of folks are strongly convicted that the rich are the problem, you know, and the rich, that's a whole other
Yeah,
term. I mean, what
gosh.
does that even mean?
Upper class, right? The
Yeah, the
rich.
whatever percent
Yeah.
income, the wealth accumulation, whatever. How do we help with that?
I think, I think being honest about it and calling it what it is really helpful. It's been really difficult, and I'll be candid. Don't know how many people are going to watch this tonight, but
Well, it stays on Facebook, so
great.
yeah.
Thank you for that disclaimer. I'll
Yeah.
be really candid. The last year and a half has been difficult for me, and those of you that have known me probably know why. It's been difficult because I found success and I found my team, and together we built something really incredible, and it's profitable, and I'm so grateful for that. But I've had a lot of people that have said, "You got lucky." You know,
Mm,
they don't see the first 6 months I had to get a couch for my office so I had somewhere to sleep.
mhm.
They didn't see the nights I didn't get home to my husband. They didn't see that I didn't make it home for dinner a single night last week. Even a year and a half into business,
Right.
I did not make it home for dinner.
Sorry for keeping you. We'll get you out of here
Right.
real soon.
Thank you, thank you. It's an opportunity and it's a blessing, but it's also a huge sacrifice. And I know my closest friends see it, the friends that I've missed out on, the parties that I've missed, their kids' parties. Gosh, the trips I couldn't take with them. I'm so grateful for that. I have a lot of travel coming up next year. Actually, my husband and I plan on going to a new city every month in 2022
Right
together,
on.
and it's long overdue. We haven't gotten to travel a lot together in the last few years, because of a pandemic, and also because I started a business. But I owe that to him and to our marriage. And I think I'm just trying to be really vulnerable with people and tell them, I know that what you see is success, but I'm asking you to also see my hard work.
Well, and there is a certain level of luck,
Sure.
quote unquote, that goes in that. And some of that is positioning, some of that is timing, some of that
A
is,
great economy.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there is some of that, but you still, luck is opportunity that you've given legs to,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
until you put the legs on that, it's just an opportunity. That's all it is.
Right.
So what do you think, Joel?
So I don't care. I don't care about changing anybody's mind about how they feel with anything. I think kind of what you were saying, you're looking internally at your husband and you're, going to go out and enjoy the next year together and be intentional about that. I'm going to worry about my household. I'm going to worry about my wife. I'm going to worry about my kids, and I'm going to show them the way that we live. And then that generation can come up and know what success is, whatever definition they want to have what
Yeah.
success is, right?
My man.
And
Yeah, your
that's
mouth to
good.
God's ears.
so that's, it is what it is. And I am not going to worry about what others have to say or do, or just going to keep growing again in my own household.
That's amazing.
All right, I'm gonna flip it around just a little bit.
Oh, come on. We all
Man,
agree
you're killing
on
me, man.
something.
No. I love that. So we're gonna go from the other direction, okay?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and I'm totally winging it. You see, I have no
Yeah.
notes today. It's a glass table. I'm not even. But one of the things that I have experienced in my life, and I don't know if you guys have ever. Maybe nobody else has. Maybe I'm a weirdo, which kind of am. When you have a certain level of success, and whether that's financial, whether that is attaining a leadership position, whatever that is, right? Your definition of success, whatever that looks like. When you have a certain level of success, I have experienced almost a guilt about it, like, and not the guilt where I sacrificed whatever and I robbed something from my kids. I have that too. But there's also like the almost, it's a version of why me. Have you guys ever experienced that, where it's like, maybe I did just get lucky. Maybe I'm faking this. Maybe I'm a poser here.
That's a little imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real thing. I don't suffer from it, but yeah, that's a real thing.
She's like, nope, you're alone. Sorry, buddy.
No,
It's clinical. There's like 2 cases in the entire world.
No,
You happen to be one of them.
You're definitely not alone. I know a ton of really successful people who think they got lucky, and I just think that's not true. Not at all. And maybe it's because my husband and my family continuously reminds me of it and kind of fights the imposter syndrome for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I truly think that everything I have today and the business that we have built is a direct result of how hard myself and my team has worked. And I would say that to any of my friends who have found success, or a stranger I met at the closing table, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably pretty easy for you, Joel, to think, well, it could be bigger, right? And could be bigger. It could be serving more kids, and look at all those that it is serving.
Yeah.
There's such a way to frame it that I think is so important. That's all life is, right? How we frame something. We learn that in the media, on social media, especially.
Yeah.
It's all about how we frame it.
Yeah.
And, instead of thinking, what if I hadn't, what if I had? Look at everything I have done, all the people I have served.
I see you looking at me.
Yeah, he's eyeing you.
I'm waiting for some inspiring words, man.
Drop the mic.
Um,
Don't drop
Not
it.
literally,
These are
it's expensive.
yeah, I know.
Do not drop the mic.
Oh my gosh, I laughed too hard.
For me, my success, if you will, has been a lot different. I mean, I left the job for 13 years, supervisor. My wife stayed at home with the kids, blah 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 blah, and I did a 360 or 180 on that. Like we sold the house, we sold our cars, we're living off nothing, and
Sure.
So my guilt, it's a little bit different. Mine is like, what have I done to my kids? Like, we had to move. They were in this elementary school, but we had to move because of what I did, with the organization to do things. And, a lot of the things that they've missed because we haven't had to be able to do with my kids. While things are better, I'm not,
Sure.
Our organization is growing. Thing is brighter every day. Love exactly what I do. And my kids do now too. But 4 or 5 years ago, I mean, there was definitely some deep struggles and some deep pain with my own children and different things. So that's kind of,
Well, and I think
it's a little bit different, but it's just
similar.
It's just a flip.
I think the unifying factor is that true success, right, is an internal feeling.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
And because I know a lot of folks have a lot of money that would not tell you that they're successful because they still needed to do this or this or this or this.
Yes.
But when you're all in and it works, right, then that's when you experience success. So, and you were everything you just said, you were absolutely all in.
We went all in. We
Yeah.
sure did.
And honestly, Joel, that's helped you make you successful. And that's what drove you, right?
It is. You're right. I mean, so getting back to, that God moment, I always say, like, he took me out to the cliff and I'm right there and I look up, I'm like, I'm here, man.
Right.
All right. Now what?
No.
And he threw you a parachute and said, see you, dude.
That's right.
We'll see you at the next cliff.
Yeah.
And that's what he's done. And, not only just for me, but for my wife and kids. It has been, my kids love the logo. You know what I mean? I mean, 4 years ago, you're picking me up from elementary school in a 12-passenger van. No, I will walk and you can pick me up over here.
Right over there.
But now it's, oh no, it's my dad.
That's right. That's right.
So it's definitely different.
Yeah, I will say from a small business owner's perspective, I've found a lot of strength in the struggle as well.
There's no question.
Oh yeah, when we first opened our doors, we could barely pay rent. You know, we had what was in the bank account and that was it. And especially with real estate closings, there's a 30-45 day time frame before we actually got our first check, right? We had to really stretch some dollar bills and some pennies. And there were some times in our first 6 months, much less during a pandemic, when we couldn't hire. We couldn't afford to hire, nor could we find anyone to hire.
Right. Well, and the thought of sitting across the table from a complete stranger without a plastic barrier and gloves and
it was difficult, and people didn't know what the housing market was going to do. No one wanted to switch title companies to we call ourselves the little title company that could, still to this day. And I will say there were a lot of late nights where I had to learn how to process files. I had to learn how to write commitments. I had to learn how to balance CDs, and that's something I took for granted before. Just how easily my team made it look, and how easily they make it look today. And I think taking that experience, that struggle where I was in the middle of the night thinking, what have I done? 6 months later, I'm hired. I have a staff of 12 now that I run, but I'm able to really empathize with them and to help them create better processes and procedures, better technology, better protocols inside of our office that help them do a better job and help our clients have better experiences. And I would not have that perspective had we not struggled so much the first few months.
You'd be disconnected still.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna wrap up with this thought, and you guys chew on this however you want. You've done great with this so far. So
I know.
So what do you think about one of my favorite sayings is that there's two types of people. There's people that stuff happens to, and there's people that make stuff happen, right? It's one of my favorite sayings. The flip side of that is, what if whoever you are, wherever you are, in that moment, right now, right now, snapshot, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Even if you're at the freaking bottom of the bottom of the bottom, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. And then the next moment, it defines what that next supposed to be is going to be. Right. And that is hard. It is hard for people to accept and to process and to understand, but that puts the ownership back on you.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when you sold the house, when you guys were all in at that moment, even when it absolutely sucked, you were exactly where you're supposed to be, because without that, to your point, you wouldn't be here.
You are correct. You're correct. So yeah, I agree with that completely. I agree with, we are where we're supposed to be at right now. And, God is good
All the time.
and just, he has us where we're supposed to be. Now, am I going to leave here and make a mistake? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And you learn from that and you move forward. And,
I made like 7 today,
I know,
Joel.
right? I'm not even airing mine, so I'll just keep that.
I was actually mistake-free today.
Oh.
But yeah, I agree. Even with the kids that we serve, right? I mean, the kids that we serve, they are exactly where they're supposed to be right now, for us to be that light, to come into their lives, to show them a different way of life, to love on them, to care for them. And
but it's so easy to blame. It's so easy to say, this is not where I'm supposed to be, and it's all whoever's fault.
And that's the truth. My family's fault, the government's fault, my teacher's fault,
The rich guy's fault.
my boss's fault.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So what do we do with that, leaders?
Lead by example.
And influence. Again, I keep going to the next generation, right?
Yeah.
None of our kids blame. You never hear any of the kids that we serve blaming this, that, or the other. Are they angry? Do they have a little anger? Yeah.
Do they probably have a right?
They have a
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm angry for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
But again, it's just influence that next generation, that you are where you're supposed to be.
Right
no
now.
blame.
That doesn't mean this is where you're supposed
correct.
to be.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
No, it's, you better not actually still be there
That's
tomorrow.
That's
Right.
And keep growing and keep working, towards that end goal. So yeah, yeah.
That's great. I'll say I'll go back to vulnerability. It's what I found my business on, and I think it's really hard for people to be vulnerable. No matter how old you are, whether you're 26 or 86, it's really hard to be vulnerable.
Sure.
And I think that's what changes the world, is vulnerability, sharing our feelings, why we feel that way, sharing how that makes someone else feel when I say that or act that way.
And the things we're afraid of.
And the things we're afraid of, how hard we work.
Mhm.
I hired a new employee a few months ago, and she was a friend of mine, by marriage. So she saw me, semi-regularly, and I probably always looked cute and was always high energy and was opening all these new businesses. And she would say to me, "How do you do it? How do you do it?" And I would kind of laugh it off. Well, when she started to work for me a few months ago, I came into her office one day, no makeup, tears, been crying, wearing yesterday's clothes. They came in one day and they were like, did she get here earlier or did she not go home? Right?
Did you actually go home?
Yeah. There were a lot of questions. And I said to her, this is how I do it. It's not what you see on Facebook. It's not my perfect picture with my perfect husband and our perfect dog and my great team. It's the struggle. We are 65 files short from meeting our annual goal. And I will tell my clients that, hey, it's been a great year and thank you and I love you, but we haven't met our goal yet. I need your help. And being vulnerable with my team, hey, we got to cut costs this month. We got to eat out less as a team, or being vulnerable enough to say, we had a great month, you guys, and you're each getting a great bonus on the next paycheck. I'm not trying to hide anything
Yeah.
from social
Yeah.
media or from my team or from my friends or my family. I don't live a perfect life. Joel, you don't
Yeah.
live a perfect life. And I think if we're
Don't tell anybody.
Oh, I won't. We just told like
Actually,
1,000 people,
of
though.
everybody at this table, he's probably the closest.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
pretty great. He's speechless.
He's
Look at that.
speechless because
He's
he
like,
knows I'm right.
Yes, yeah. Humble brag on Joel here. Humble brag. But that's I just try to be really vulnerable. And I think some people look at me and they're like, wow, you overshare. I'm like, or you all undershare.
Yeah, maybe you undershare.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. So if I'm
Yeah.
ever vulnerable with you, with all of these people listening,
Don't be uncomfortable.
it's because I love you.
Just roll with it.
Yeah, just roll
Yeah.
with it.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Joel, we got something big that we need to discuss real quick.
Let's do it.
How do people help Endure Athletics in the next less than a month?
So we have our marvelous New Year's Eve bash downtown Murfreesboro at the Walnut House. You can get your tickets at our website, www.endureathletics.org. Go to events, buy your tickets for New Year's Eve.
And it's gonna be
It is the event
pretty epic, isn't it?
of the year to end the year
Yay.
with. We'll have the valet parking, red carpet entrance, live band, DJ,
Surprises,
surprises, cigar bars, you name it. It's going to be the place to be.
That's amazing.
Walnut House.
That's right.
I
Ricky
love
Martini and crew over there.
He's the best.
Oh
man.
my gosh,
He's the
that
best.
guy. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank
Very
you.
exciting.
Love that.
What about you? Any quick announcements?
Oh, no announcements other than, like I said, we are so close to our annual goal. And I know it's really hard to get some contracts in last minute here, but as of last week, we were 65 files short of 1,000 files closed.
Wow.
Our first full year
Long
in business.
distance.
Woo!
Bam.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, thank you. We opened in June of 2020, and I never in a million years thought that in our first full calendar year we would close 1,000 files.
That is
Awesome.
killer. Good for
Yes.
you.
Thank you. And we were 65 short, but I think in the last 7 days we've closed 20. So if you have a refinance or a cash deal you're buying real quick, let me
Sprint to the
know.
finish. I love it. I love it. All right. Trent, you got anything to throw in?
No, I just want to say thank you to both of y'all. Y'all are staples here in the community, and been a fan of both of y'all for a long time, and just grateful to call you friends and have you in the studio and
Absolutely.
and seeing y'all live your truth. It's been awesome to see.
We
Yeah.
love you,
Thanks,
Trent.
brother.
And one more quick shout out to Mr. Brian Nail with Iberia Bank Mortgage. One of my best friends over there, and also happens to be a freaking fantastic lender. Hey, Brian, you heard it. She needs some files to close, so go out and do something to get some more files. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, that's about it. Did you like that? The little hand. Yeah.
That's how they happen.
Go take
Yeah.
care of that. So if you need anything real estate related, of course, hit us up, jharmonhometeam.com. We'd love to help and get Jamie another file. It'd be great.
Yes.
See, we got a theme going
Is
at
that
the
a
end. here.
promise? Did I just?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So that's it. You guys have a wonderful rest of the week. We'll see you again next week. Thanks.